What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Theory Pre-Med. Theory Pre-Med is a podcast following the journey of three pre-med students, Mo, Todd, and Nathan. We talk about our path and our experiences as we bring in guests who will connect pre-meds worldwide. If you are thinking about med school or anywhere in the healthcare realm, our podcast will give you the ultimate student perspective. Also, thank you to Chapman Radio for giving us the space to record today.
Ooh. So this is our second episode of the day. And
Last
the last
episode of recording, right?
for
For
like 4 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah.
We recorded all our episodes, so
For
the whole month
intro.
of January is basically done now. You guys are gonna just get these episodes out, and we're gonna take a nice break.
Yeah. So today we're going to be talking about this idea of like looking back on things. And to me, this idea really stemmed from, the idea that I feel like when I look back at myself, like, oh, like when I was a freshman, I was so dumb. Like I didn't know anything. Or when I was in high school, I was so dumb. I didn't know anything compared to now. Or even, middle school, elementary school. I feel like that's just something that we always do just as people. We always have like this sensation that, I know so much more than I did back then, even though I probably don't.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
in 2 years we'll do the same thing.
Yeah,
looking
exactly.
back at ourselves right now.
Do you guys
and
ever
we're
have
dumb.
that phenomenon?
Oh, totally. Especially like looking back at high school. I'm like, what
Yeah.
what was I doing?
Okay.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what this whole episode is just based upon, just to give some context.
It's almost embarrassing to talk about, like, 'cause we were just didn't know anything at all.
Yeah. I mean, what do you expect?
Yeah.
But yeah, so
It's part of growing up.
for introduce this subject, I have another hypothetical written. Is would you go back in time 15 years, so when you were 5 years old, and relive those 15 years with the knowledge, like basically you, but you're in but you're in the mentality of like a 5-year-old.
Oh.
Wait, no,
Or like
wait,
the
no, wait.
body of a
I said
5-year-old.
that.
Body of a
I
5-year-old.
said
So
that backwards.
we have
So
our
you're a
same
5-year-old, but you're a 5-year-old, but you're you.
Wow.
I would say no.
Really?
And the reason for that is because at the end of the day, you're still a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And people are going to look at you as a 5-year-old. Even if you're the smartest like person ever, like the smartest 5-year-old ever, you're still going to be looked at as a 5-year-old. So with
6-year-old gets into medical school.
so like
5-year-old is 2,000.
So even
right
with
at
all that
chest.
knowledge, I feel like
Imagine.
you can't really do much with it. Like let's say like you can't apply to college as a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
You can't apply to med school.
Wait, what happens though if there's like an 8-year-old that like passes
No.
the GED?
You can apply as long as you have a high school diploma. So you just got to get
Or-
into
or-
high
But
school.
are you gonna
early.
get in though?
You can.
Because a lot of it
if
is
you're a genius.
is going to be experiences as well. Like I think that goes back to med school. You have to be a well-rounded person. So let's say you apply like as a 7-year-old to med school, or even if a 6-year-old,
true.
right?
That is
They're
true.
gonna be like, "There's no way you've worked as an EMT or done clinical. There's no way you've done all these volunteering things."
And you haven't.
right?
Yeah.
And technically, as a 5-year-old, that is true because you can't be doing that.
We
Like,
have the knowledge as if we had worked on all those jobs, but we haven't done it ourselves, so we can't put
It's-
it on that.
so, like-
So no.
So absolutely not. And if you think about it, like, what do you want a 11-year-old doctor, no matter how smart people say they are,
Well, you don't.
to take care of you?
You can wait. You can wait to become a doctor.
Okay,
Like-
totally. But then, what are you gonna do with that knowledge?
You're just gonna have it for fun. I
It's,
guess.
it's meaningless. It's.
I don't know. I, guess
wouldn't
it's
do it.
meaningless.
I think.
What
I
about
think
you?
my last thing is no.
Okay. In reality, probably not. But I really want to see like how it would work. Like, it seems like a cool thing to just be like, the mind of a college student in like a 5 or 6-year-old body, and like
The
just
next
see
movie,
how that.
we start making a movie out of
affects-
this.
Yeah, and just see how it affects the people around you. Like, do you come off as like snobby, like know it all, or like, I don't know. And I feel like I could have changed a lot of like the social situations and choices that I made as a kid, like just to improve where I'm at right now. Like if I was like a lot
You could be a-
smarter,
you could be a
smarter and had
TikTok
life
influencer.
experiences. Sure, one of those things, man. And yeah, exactly. So, and I could have worked harder, and I feel like I would be in a lot better position today if I was. But it's part of growing up is to have like that little kid mentality, and I would be losing that, the little kid kind of.
But you would
wonder.
have technically already experienced it
Yeah.
like up until now.
So like going back
Oh.
until you'd still have your 5-year-old.
Okay, then yes, I would do it.
Okay.
I would do it.
for the sake
I'm
of
not losing my
this-
childhood.
No. So for the
No,
sake,
no.
So
Okay.
you would do
Done.
it just to change things
It's
about
just-
like you growing up.
Yeah, it's just like this.
Sure.
You go back 15 years. Like time goes back 15 years, but you're still like the same like brain.
Yeah.
So
I
basically,
would
who
do
you
it.
are right now gets put into like your 5-year-old body.
Yeah, your
I would
5-year-old
do
self.
it not just to like change things like in terms of like where I come out and in the future and like how much like better I could be in terms of like
It's like Nathan, go to
things
your
that I've
room.
done. But I'm just curious of like how it would work and like how people would think of me and stuff like
fair.
that.
Yeah. What I would do is I'd, find whoever won the lottery. Go back,
God,
wait 15
You're
years.
cheating.
Wait 15 years patiently. I'm going to win that Powerball.
This is not part of the
I'm just
question.
kidding. I don't. This one's a really hard one for me, and the way that I'm thinking about this, and maybe I am just like overthinking this or whatever, but I feel like, if you, or no, I have like, I think that I've gotten into really good like circumstances in terms of my life, and so many things about life is like circumstantial, right? If you think about like the butterfly effect, which may or may not be real, it's that idea if you go into the past and like you kill a butterfly, then that could drastically change the future in some way. Maybe that's true or maybe that's not true, but I feel like if I were to go back in time as as who I am right now, then my life isn't going to be the same, in 15 years. In 15 years, I probably wouldn't be here right now,
Yeah.
right? If I was, if I was that quote unquote, like, if I was a gifted child, right? If I was as smart as a college student when I was a 5-year-old, then chances are I wouldn't make it back here in 15 years. Right.
You'd
And so
be
the
on
thing
Mars.
is, yeah. And so the thing is,
Bro.
I've really grown to be, obviously I'm attached to the circumstances that I have right now in my life because I've grown to like accept them, to, be happy with what I have. And so it makes it really difficult to go back. But in other words, would I go back? I would say probably not. Although I would really want to know
Yeah.
how it would turn out. So maybe I would.
Same with me.
Right.
But okay, think about this. What if you just like act dumb as a kid? So like you can basically just like relive your entire childhood. Like,
That's 15 years, man.
your life.
That's a long. I mean,
okay, think about this. If when you're old, would you want to relive your childhood?
I think anyone would.
Yes.
If you're, like you're super old.
If you got the actual
But-
opportunity
but as
to
as a,
relive
as a
your
kid
childhood,
though, as a kid, everyone wants to be old.
but you already have that. You already have that knowledge of, oh, I'm gonna enjoy my childhood.
yeah, exactly. So you would really be
That's a
in the
good point.
moment.
That's a good point.
You would be really in the moment.
Totally.
And you'd be really smart.
I think
And you'd be super
But then-
smart, but you could hide it. You could hide it.
imagine all the freedom you have today. All that is gone. You can't drive anymore. You can't
Yeah.
go like certain places anymore alone.
That's
Okay.
fine. Yeah, but you will eventually. You will. I'll go.
Another
I'll say
15
yes
years.
because
No way,
I'll
I'm
I'll
not
be
doing
like
it.
five.
Convinced him.
I'll be 5 and I'll be like, Mom, can I take the GED? And then I'll just crank that out and I'll never have to go to school ever again.
Boom! Oh my gosh, that's genius.
No way.
You could just like do fun kid stuff, like play with Legos. Think
But
about
as
that,
a 5-year-old, as a 5-year-old,
That's
your
true.
parents will tell you what to do. Like people will tell you what to do. Like
Well,
you're
not if
back
you're
at the
super,
bottom.
Super smart.
Still, I mean, like
But as a kid, that's harder to handle. Now we're mature, like our minds are mature, so we're like,
that's what makes it even harder. Imagine right now, right? Whatever like an adult told you to do, you have to do it.
I mean,
but if I
you're a
was in a
5-year-old,
5-year-old body,
You
I would be
have
like,
to do it.
eventually, you don't. You don't have to do anything that anyone tells
Because
you.
then
about-
everyone would look down upon you.
Yeah,
like
but you have
you're like a
so much
disrespectful
less-
kid.
but you have so much less responsibilities in general.
100%.
I would just do it. I would just do
Be like,
whatever my mom
it'd
told
be
me
like,
to.
take out the trash right now.
I do.
I take out the
I mean,
trash
I
anyway.
do, but no, exactly. Like you do all those things, right? But
Yeah.
you do them on your own time.
Okay.
No, I just
So
do
now,
it when they tell me.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's just I think all that freedom that you've gained is just
No.
But you'll get
God.
it back eventually.
After
I
15 years, no
understand.
way.
Yeah, I
I'm not
understand.
doing
I would say yes though. I would say yes.
no way. All right. So
And on the same topic,
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about like basically a reflection of, our elementary, middle school, high school lives and talk about how we were and how we've changed and
Yeah.
the dumb kids we were.
So I've split this up into 3 distinct sections. One of them is elementary/middle school. Which honestly for me was like kind of the same because I went to K through 8, but I started in first grade, so I was at the same school from first grade to 8th grade.
Yeah.
So that's like elementary slash middle school. Then we'll go to high school, and then we'll go to like freshman sophomore years of college.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. So I'll start with the first one, and we can do
Let's start with like the earlier
yeah.
stuff first. Yeah.
Yeah. So the first
Yeah.
question is, what were our friends like in like elementary slash middle school? Like, what kind of like friend group were we a part of? Yeah, like kind of like what social groups?
I had a very different childhood than most people.
I know, and I also had slightly, well, obviously not as different as yours, but I feel like I have much different than what Todd experienced because I had a class of 20 kids. I didn't choose my friend
Dang.
groups. Like
Okay.
I just like those kids were around me. They're my friends, and they're still my like. I love like the kids I grew up with. I still hang out with them and go fishing with them all the time and stuff like that. But I didn't have a choice at all in
Wait,
the
so
matter.
what kind of school? Like, was your school like
It was a private Catholic school.
how long were you there for?
So I went to St. Catherine's, which is the private Catholic school, from kindergarten to 8th grade.
Okay,
and
so
then
similar.
I went to Notre Dame, which was in the same parking lot, also a private Catholic school for the next 4 years for high school.
Oh,
So very religious. path.
Same.
I think there's
parking
other
lot.
schools. There's other schools that
for-
are like that around here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So they're two separate schools, but they share the same parking lot. So I was like in the same place for 12 years, same intersection. So it was, but I loved it. Honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. I didn't change a thing.
Yeah.
My small classes got us really close, and that's why I still hang out with the kids I met in kindergarten to this day. So
In terms of social groups, like throughout elementary and middle school, I was never one of like the cool kids. There's always like those cool kids, and I was never one of them.
I wasn't either.
Well, you had 20 people.
Yeah, I was middle of the pack, Todd. I was middle of the pack.
I think I was like,
I was very average.
I wasn't like one of those cool kids, but I was like, I had my group, and we were like, we all came from like other different social circles, I think, and we were all pretty different, and we were kind of like our one distinct group, and I feel like we knew, this is middle school, so I'm not gonna go like,
Yeah.
but like we knew people, like we knew everyone fairly because my school I think was only like around 100 kids per grade.
Yeah.
And so like everyone kind of knew each other, but we weren't like the cool kids, but we're also like we're just kind of like in the middle too.
Yeah.
For my, like, I would say up to second grade. Yeah, up to third grade. I had to repeat third grade. I'll talk a little bit
Wait,
about that.
is that so? What grade did you like?
So
were
after
you
I
here?
finished third grade in Africa, then moved here, and since I didn't know English, I had to do third grade
to
again.
Irvine,
To Anaheim.
to Anaheim. So what? Okay,
So I started off my first years in Ivory Coast, right? And originally preschool and kindergarten were at one school. It was more of like a smaller town.
Right.
And over there, I was known as the white boy. I was literally the only white kid in the town, basically
Wow.
the only white kid. So at school, I would go, and then literally all the kids were amazed by my hair. That was like, because at the time I had long hair.
okay. Wait, how long?
It was like down here.
Do you have any pic-
Whoa,
do you have
I
any
want to see a
pictures?
picture.
You should redo
so-
that. Redo it.
Yeah.
Come back.
So then-
yes.
Every day, like when I'd go, it was everyone like touching my hair, like even teachers and stuff. But there was also a lot of discrimination too. For example, you'd always be called like a white boy. You wouldn't be, like I was never called by my name. That was like a thing.
Wow.
The reason I changed from that school to kind of like the bigger, more private school over there was because they wanted to make a statement out of me or something like that, and they sent me home in like girl clothes.
Who are they making a statement to?
It was just more like we don't want white people in our community type thing. And then it was a whole like ordeal. And then my parents decided it would be best to just move me out. Like just to explain how bad it was at that school. Like my aunt sent me a backpack and it was like a furry lion backpack or like a dog. And then they burnt that like during like recess. Like the teachers did that. And then like the bathrooms,
What?
yeah, like dead ass. Like they burnt it in front of everyone, and then I would have to use the bathroom was in the bushes for me. I would have to go in the back of the class and like use the bathroom there. And on top of it, I remember this like distinctly. So in Africa, this is like all schools in Africa, and I think schools outside of the United States too, like a good majority of them, they're allowed to hit you with a ruler if you make mistakes and things like that.
Yeah.
No, if I made one mistake, I would always get hit like really hard, but then all the other kids would be like slight taps. I always noticed that. But anyways, I got moved out of that school into a private like school that was very religious, and it was like all white kids basically. There it was a lot. I would say it kind of stripped you away from your childhood in a way, just because it was very like straightforward. Like you had to follow the rules. If you didn't follow the rules, you get hit. An example of that is every morning you'd line up in your your first period class basically with that group. You'd have professors come or teachers. I can call them professors. They'd check your nails, your ears, like your hair. Everything had to be like spot on, kind of like military style. And then if anything was like, let's say your nails were too long, you get sent up in front of everyone, and the principal would just like slap you really hard. And the guy was like Jack, dude. He was huge. So those are like crazy things. Obviously, that's something you would never hear in the United States, but that was my childhood. But I would say when it comes to like social groups there, everyone was pretty close. You always have that drama, like, right? You have like small groups and there's always drama. But I think overall, outside of school, it was never very like getting to know people just because you're so isolated. There was always that like being scared of what could happen if like you left your kid alone outside. But yeah, we lived in a gated house, and I would literally stay there like in my house every day. Like I wouldn't go outside. If I went outside, I'd be on that street, and I'd just ride my bike up and down. And that was it. I would rarely see anyone outside of school.
Well, what about after third grade?
So after third grade, I came here. I went to a private religious school again, and then I was the only guy in the class. So I think I was literally the only. It was like 8, 9 of us, and I was the only guy in the class. But I got along with everyone. I think in that school, it was just like too religious. I think for me and my family, so that's why I ended up transitioning into public school.
So what about towards like 7th, 8th, 6th, 7th, 8th
So
grade?
like I transitioned into public school 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. 4th grade had a ton of fun. I had a really good like teacher who did a lot of like Friday was like a fun day for everyone. He would like do raffles and like all the school things. It was super fun. I still remember him, Mr. Adams. He's a homie. I wonder if he's still alive. He was very old.
Hopefully.
Shout out Mr. Adams.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Adams. But 5th grade and 6th grade, I would say that's where a lot of the bullying started happening. Like, I mean, typical Middle Eastern bullying, I would say. Use your imagination.
I'm not familiar.
You'd get called a terrorist, things like that, because you're Middle Eastern.
Interesting.
And then, like, I was a little chubbier, too, at the time. I was, like, starting to gain a little bit of weight. So I would always do that. And this was really nasty, but, like, or not nasty, but at the time I had braces, my teeth were really messed up. So I'd always get made fun of, like, for that. Things like that, just stupid things. So I was kind of like doing my own thing, and on top of it, what didn't help was for recess they had this like patrol officer, they called you, or like patrol student or something like that, and you'd basically like wear this vest and you would like write up people for doing like things. So I would write everyone up, and now obviously
You were the patrol.
Yeah, it was me and like someone else.
Okay.
And the reason I got into it was because I knew all the people that would bully me, and I would literally just watch them the entire time. And I'm like, I would write them up for the smallest things. And now
No wonder
obviously
they bullied you.
I know.
no. The reason I signed up to become one of them is because they bullied me.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, that's one way
So
to
he's trying
stop
to
getting
get back.
bullied, like during recess, because I won't be around kids. But at the same time, like I could get back at those kids who bullied me.
Dang.
And so I was
Going
just
on the aggressive.
so
fight back.
I started writing
using
them
the
up.
system.
Yeah, and then so I started writing all of them up, and then it was like the best thing ever. 6th grade came. I think in 6th grade, everyone's like whatever. Everyone has their friend group. I had like my like little 4 people that I always hung out with.
Nice.
And I will say, since there was just one hot chick in 6th grade, I thought it was like
Bro.
No, listen.
can't say
Listen,
that,
no.
man.
She was like known as like the hot chick, right?
Wait, okay, wait.
And-
What school, middle school did you go to?
This is elementary school for 6th grade.
Oh.
It was Walt Disney. So she was like
Walt
known as like
Disney?
the hot girl in the class. And I was like literally the
In
kid that was
6th grade?
the bully, the kid that was like literally bullied. And it was one time she stood up for me, and then since that
Aw.
day, like we were like homies.
Aw,
So we'd
it's a
like
love
we'd always hang
story.
out. No, So
Yeah,
Oh, he
his
shot that down
first-
so fast.
so it
Lowe's
was
first crush.
no, it was like
Aw.
we were like homies, and then yeah, but
Wait, so do you still talk to her?
no.
When did you stop talking to her?
After I moved after sixth grade, because after sixth grade I was supposed to go to school that was known for like the stabbings and like gang stuff and all that.
Oh.
So my mom was like, "All right, we're not going there. We're gonna move you to somewhere else." And then I ended up driving like 40 minutes every morning to middle school.
Which one? Was it around,
It was in La Palma,
what was it called?
Walker.
Fuck, I've
Walker
heard of
Junior
it.
High. Yeah, there's been a couple people here, but in Walker, I would say that's where the bullying was the worst for me.
Dang.
I mean, that's where like I was getting hit, I was getting pushed. There's definitely still a lot more. There's still like gang stuff happening, but I would say that's where people like start wanting to show off a lot is in middle school. So I mean, in the locker room, like I was just a chubby kid, and I was like just trying to get my PE done, dude. I hated PE. I could barely run a mile, and then this one kid, every single like period, he'd be like, "Come on, fight me," and I'd be like, "Bro, you're gonna beat me. Like I can't
Dude,
fight." He was just
I
like
had a kid
ripped
like that too.
and
Really?
Yeah.
and he would start like hitting me for no reason, and I'm like, "What? Like I didn't do anything to you,
Oh.
dude." And it was just yeah.
Always starting stuff.
He was just it was just all on
Yeah,
me, and then he
I
was
guess
like the
so.
popular kid, so like all his friends would also like gang up on me and like start doing things like during the mile would be running, and every time by the baseball like the baseball area where teachers wouldn't be looking because it was all the way in the back, he'd literally push me every time. He would be waiting because he's fast, right?
Dude.
So he would literally wait there for me to get there, and
Oh
he would
my
just push me,
God.
and then I would always have scrapes on my knees and things like that. So I
Dang.
was, so-
Wow. Okay.
and the teachers, like all the PE teachers, thought he was like the athlete, the best athlete ever, because he was like on the
Did
the
he ever
middle
get
school.
like punished?
Oh no,
for it?
never,
No,
never.
nothing.
Yeah, it actually
No
the
detention?
bullying got so bad that I would have to leave like school 10 minutes early, and the principal would walk me to my car.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
All
was
right,
that was middle
well-
school for me.
That's crazy, man. I mean, I got bullied a little in middle school. I got punched a couple times. That's it. It was nothing like that. So I feel even bad about telling this story.
But I think a lot of it too was just like moving into the United States. I didn't really like fit in because obviously like in Africa it's very different than how it is here. So I also didn't know how to communicate with a lot of people, and like I wasn't up with the trends with everyone that was doing, and everything that was happening every single year was like, whoa, what is this type of thing to me? Because it was like a brand new world to me. So that's probably where a lot of it came
Interesting.
from.
Cool. Yeah. So did we study a lot? You know, were you guys studious at all?
No way. Actually, in elementary school, I had a tutor, and I would have to like. We had so much homework in Africa, dude. You were like, basically, you know the OChem practice problems that we
Sure.
had. That was me every day.
Okay.
Like, just for one, like math, just math. That was straight up me.
Wow.
And then we also had to learn Arabic. Arabic, I would literally like follow because the way it was, you know, vocab, right? You would have to like they'd like read it to you and you'd write it. And over there with Arabic, you would get a passage. You would have to memorize the entire passage, right?
Yes.
Word by word, and how to spell everything. So the teacher's not telling you it. You have to memorize it and you have to write it, which I think is so stupid. But
I mean, you know
that was
Arabic, so
terrible.
it worked.
Yeah, I was terrible.
Yeah.
I was terrible. I mean, I think I've told this story before, so I'll just say it again, but really short. But when I was little, I used to not be able to focus on my homework at all. And basically what my mom had to do was like take me to go swimming. And so I had to go swimming for like an hour or two before I could go home and like, you know, actually focus on my homework, because I thought it was like the hardest thing ever. And I vividly remember like sitting at the table crying because I couldn't do my homework. And all it was like reading the hands on a clock. And I couldn't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of dumb, but but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't study at all. I mean, I mean, the only thing I studied for was spelling because I was bad at spelling.
Yeah, spelling is hard.
And you actually have to study like how words are spelled a lot of the time, because just the way the tests are. Other than that, I didn't study, but I was good at school. I didn't have much competition, obviously, but I was always like one of the top of my class and everything.
Yeah.
But you know, I didn't try at all during, you know, elementary
Yeah,
school.
which is totally
the
fair.
only thing I tried for, like, I wanted to get high honor roll. Like, every
Yeah.
semester. Like high honor roll, like because my parents were happy with it.
No,
That's
I would say
only
the same thing. Like I wouldn't study at all, but I think starting fourth, like yeah, once I got out of like private school, the private
Yeah.
religious school, because I didn't have to like study like all the Quran stuff and stuff like that anymore. It was just like schoolwork, and a lot of I think up to fifth grade, everything up to that point, like math related and sciences and things like that, I had already learned in the private school in Africa. So I
Oh,
already knew.
okay.
Yeah, so I was like ahead of it. So I would just not do anything. Even like all of high school, I didn't even learn anything, or not learn anything. I didn't study anything for anything up to my senior year. And I think the only time, like obviously I still like in elementary school and middle school, I got all A's and things like that. But a lot of that motivation was just like making my mom happy.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
oh, it's like
exactly.
my son is doing well type of thing.
Yeah.
But I would say what switched me to start studying my senior year was the amazing teachers we had our senior year. We had like for
Wait, let's,
You're talking about
let's-
high school now?
Yeah.
well,
let's,
oh, we're stopping
yeah.
at middle school. Okay.
yeah.
So
My
yeah,
bad.
up to middle school, didn't study for anything.
Yeah.
But still did pretty well.
Yeah.
thankfully. I wanted to stay in the GATE program. Did you guys have the GATE program?
Yeah, I
No.
never made it in.
I don't know what that is.
is.
I never had it.
Yeah, I don't
Didn't go
even
to
know.
public
It was
school.
like something where like the
Stupid.
smart kids like
Yeah.
I don't even think it did anything though.
It was more saying I'm in GATE.
Yeah, I know.
Bruh.
Those kids were always annoying. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
No idea what that is.
It's like it
You
was
just
just like
go. You basically go more in depth into the material.
still.
really was that what it was?
Yeah. At
It
least our
was-
school.
It,
That's it.
And you go
Just an
faster.
honors
You go faster.
program.
Yeah.
it was just a way like
Um,
you go and you take a test. And then based on, I actually think it was like just an IQ test or something like that.
Was it
I
an
don't
IQ
even
test?
know. I don't even know.
I remember it was like a lot of math and
Yeah,
that was all. it
you
was.
go and take a test, and if you made it into the program, then it's like you're like grouped with other students who are also GATE
cracked
students.
at school.
I never wanted
No,
to
it's
do
never
any
me.
of like the extra like honors stuff, like smart kid stuff, if there was any in elementary school, because in first grade, like I was ahead of like my class in reading, so like
Everyone was.
I
everyone
know,
was in reading.
obviously, but like,
Bro, no,
but
but
like I
the-
felt so bad about like I just didn't like being singled out as like the I don't know, I just
Yeah.
didn't
No,
like
in the
it.
GATE program, the one thing I will say in like sixth grade, all of the kids were like high school level like reading, and I was like barely middle school in the GATE program.
Oh really?
So I was like 2 grades ahead. They were like 6 grades ahead.
Dang,
They were very like their vocab and stuff was very well established.
Yeah,
Very true.
For me, I think I didn't care about school. I mean, I never like fell short of like a lot of things. I guess except for the GATE test because I never passed that. But a lot of times, I just was like always vibing. I think in school, like I was just doing what I was doing, and the reason why was because I didn't know that like you have to go to school to like to learn and to
Yeah.
be successful, quote unquote. Because I was a fifth grader, like it's like these aren't really things that you think about. You just think, oh, I have to go to school, like I'm just doing this, blah blah blah. And I remember a lot of times in like third grade, I would always get like I would get like C's on my writing assignments.
Oh dang.
And it was a really funny story. This one time, my friend, like we were doing peer reviews because we did peer reviews in like third grade, and he put like, oh, like perfect for every single section. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, perfect,
that's
like,
a good friend
no mistakes,
right there.
No mistakes. And then,
That's
like,
a good friend.
yeah. And then the teacher grades right next to the peer review, and it's like, and then it was like C. I got a C on that paper.
But
And it
you-
was so funny,
Bro, in
looking back
elementary,
on
middle
it.
school, you can't like. I mean, it's just you
I
can't
know, yeah.
do anything to your home, like your
Yeah.
friend's paper. You can't.
Yeah,
do
I know.
That.
And I was just that was so funny. And I was always like not that great at writing back in like middle school and high school.
Nah,
but that
me
was
neither.
definitely one thing that I thought was hilarious. When it came to sixth grade for me, as when I like started not doing that well, because I mean I didn't really have motivation to like do any more work outside of school. So I mean yeah, so I was like not doing as good. But like I didn't really, it was like it was whatever. But I think what happened like seventh grade was I had a semester where I did like really bad, and I was like, oh shoot, man. And when I was a pretty rambunctious child. Like I was definitely not reserved, and I kind of just like did whatever. I was like one of those like really loud kids that like always made jokes, which I guess is, I guess is kind of like how I am now, except I'm not loud. But I would always like, I was like that type of kid.
Right.
And I was like, oh shoot, I don't want people to think I'm dumb. Like that was literally my mentality. And I was like, you know what? I need to start trying in school so that way people don't think I'm dumb.
Dang.
And so what would happen every single time is like I would
Motivation.
I started trying. So that way I was like, so that way I could like make the honor roll, and like in a way that was my way of proving that like I'm not dumb, because I think a lot of times what I thought people thought of me was that they thought I was dumb because I was like loud and rambunctious and like I don't know, I just did whatever I wanted to do, and a lot of times I was like really dumb. I mean, I was like dumb fucking middle school. Like I would just like run around and like, yell or whatever.
Yeah, same.
And so that was my one time to prove that I wasn't actually dumb. And so I think that that's what really motivated me to start doing better in school. And then I kind of just carried with me throughout the rest of high school and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I didn't have motivation like that, but like it was just my parents. Like I wanted to prove myself for my
in
parents.
like middle school and elementary, a lot of it is parents.
Yeah,
when you see them like, oh my god, my son got like a this and that. It's like pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I never got that. I was always. There was one time my parents. Okay, when I was younger, I've talked to my parents now, and they debated, and they told me how they talked about, or they thought about sending me to like a private school, for high school, because I was just so
Pay to win.
I was so like behind.
That's
like,
me, bro.
I know, because I was just so behind in elementary and middle school because I didn't like. Because I was just dumb, like the homework thing where I have to go swim and
then
like,
they picked uni.
They
Out of
just-
all the high schools.
well, because then I was like, you know what, Mom, I got this. But they thought about it. Because I was they thought I needed more attention in school in terms of my learning. But I did okay.
Worked out.
You were not dumb.
Yeah.
So moving on to high school, how is your high school?
Well, I think we can kind of break it up a little bit.
Okay.
But like first, talking about again social circles and friends. Like what kind of friends /
For high school?
social circles were we in for high school? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, like I've already said this before and you guys think I'm the nerd for it, but I was the kid who was like playing like sports every like break and lunch and stuff. I wasn't like
Wait.
socializing that much.
That's what
in
the
high
cool
school.
people did.
Oh, really?
Is it?
Well, I
don't
was
really
playing
know.
like
I mean,
frisbee
sports?
and like
Oh.
I wasn't playing football.
kidding.
I was playing like I was tossing around a baseball, playing frisbee.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, you were on the baseball team in high school, weren't you?
Yeah, for a year. So I was all right.
You got cut.
Oh.
I didn't get cut. But I was on the swim and baseball team.
So were you
for
generally
part of it.
friends with like those people, like the people you were on
No,
teams with?
I wasn't friends that much with the baseball team. I mean, there was a couple people that was like close, and I was like chill with them, obviously, but like I wasn't like I didn't hang out with them. I hung out with like the guys in my class who played like various sports, but I just like I have a lot of like as a kid and in high school still like I had a lot of energy that I needed to like play sports like all the time. Like I was always playing sports. Now
That's
I don't.
cool.
But I got really good at frisbee playing at lunch.
So what type of people were you friends with?
I was always friends with like the middle of the road kind of like almost like popular, but like kind of average group, I guess. I didn't like hang out with like the weird kids or nothing. Like I didn't hang out with like the super popular jocks like in football and stuff. Like I just like middle of the road. I feel like that's how I am now as well.
Nah, we're the super
Nah,
cool
oh, you're
people.
right. You're right. We're the cool
We're the
kids.
super
Yeah,
cool
I
people.
forgot.
All right,
Well,
what about-
I think coming into high school, I moved. So a lot of everyone I knew from middle school, I didn't see in high school.
new school, new me.
Yeah, literally,
Yeah, that's
that was
interesting.
literally me. Because I was chubby, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna change this. So joined a sport, water polo. Out of all the sports, I don't know why. I think it was I'm really glad I picked water polo. It was fun.
yeah.
Put me in shape during that summer. Actually, my mom was like, "You're not joining a sport, like no way." And I just like got all the money I saved up and just signed up for it during the summer.
Mhm.
And after that was history. had a ton of fun. I think it was a good way to just get friends before school started, because like that team you get close with, especially during the summer. You go into high school freshman year, all the freshmen you're friends with. You know some upperclassmen, and actually one of the upperclassmen on that team is still one of my really close friends, because he was never like the school person. So he would like the class I was in, like the math class I was in my freshman year. He was in as a junior, so like we just like hung out and just like talked all the time. And we still like hang out today. We're still like pretty close.
That's who I'm thinking of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That he's funny.
Yeah.
He's cool.
He's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a true friend for sure. So definitely like made some good friends through that. But I would say like my social circles during high school, especially freshman, sophomore, and junior year, were a lot of upperclassmen. And the reason for that was because my cousin was there and he was like one of the popular kids at our school.
Oh.
So then I just like hung out with his
Yeah.
group and like got to know people through that.
Easy.
But what I will say about that was, when all the upperclassmen graduated, I was like, oh crap! Now I have to like find my new friend
That
group.
was the same thing
Yeah.
that happened with me
Like,
in senior
I had to like
year.
find all the lower classmen. So I went to all like my lower classmen, or like the same like class level as me,
Yeah.
basically the new seniors. And they're like, oh, now you want to hang out with us? Like now that all the upperclassmen are gone. And I was like, come on, dude, like no. So I mean, I still had like friends during my senior year. It was fun, but I would say I was the kid that was known by everyone, but like was not like popular. I would say,
That was me
Okay.
too. Like
if that makes sense.
everyone knew me because I was always like the leads in the school plays that everybody
okay.
would go to. So everyone knew me like from that at least.
How big was your class size again? For high school?
In high school, about 100, 120, something
Okay.
like that, around that. But
So
like
everyone knows.
everyone knew each other
I was
anyway.
like 600, dude.
But
Yeah,
like,
I was 600
no,
as well.
like not every. Okay, so we had about 500 people total in the school, like 400 or 500. So not everybody knew me, obviously, but like everybody knew of me at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, I mean, I think high school was fun though.
Yeah.
it was the first time where I did not get bullied, so it
Let's
was a
go.
ton of fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, freshman year, I think a lot of the time I was kind of between like different groups. All of them were again like not the popular people, but yeah, I don't know. I was just kind of between groups. I think a lot of the times, like I think I started off with the friends that I had in middle school, and then we kind of like went different ways towards different friend groups. But yeah, I always, I had like a couple people I was friends with, but still not too many, honestly. I think I knew a lot of people and a lot of people knew me, I think. But in terms of like people I was actually close with was never really too many until I'd say like junior year, where I really started to become closer friends with like people in marching band. And that made things a lot better. And that kind of just grew until like senior year. And I'd say that like by the time I graduated, like my closest friends were the people in marching band with me. But other than that, like, I mean, I didn't really have.
Christine was in marching band with you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't say that again.
Oh, did you
Mo
turn
cut
off my
you
mic?
off.
Yeah, because you're moving the stuff.
Sorry. Christina was in your marching band as well. Yeah.
But basically, those are my closest friends. I mean, I was between groups kind of throughout high school, but they were like my closest ones. I always had like one or two people I could talk to in any group, I think.
Yeah.
But never really anyone I was like super close to, which kind of sucked now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But it worked out near the end of high school.
One thing I will say about high school, it was more of, I feel like this is like, I think a lot of people could relate to this. It's a lot of close friendships are made more for like fitting in more than anything. Like, yeah, you always have that one or two friends that you're close with, but the majority of friend groups that you're a part of, it's more just like trying to fit in
Yeah.
type of thing.
Definitely.
I mean, like, you can even tell, like, after high school, you barely talk to anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I could count the number of people I still talk to from high school in my hand, right? And out of the hundreds of people that I knew. So I think that's, like, one thing about high school. It's a good way to grow up a little bit and just experience different things. And I'm thankful of it. I mean, like, it definitely taught me a lot of lessons. Like, I don't want to be like friends with a lot of people, because that's literally like fueling drama. And there's always something going on, no matter what, no matter the friend group in high school. There's always something, and it teaches you like different things, whether it's like in relationships or like things like that. So I think it was a good learning experience, and I had a ton of fun in high school. I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Yeah.
Um, it definitely helped me see who I was and who I shouldn't be, things like that. And it definitely helped me get my priorities straight.
So did you
That's
guys
nice.
like high school?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't get bullied. I mean, like, it was so much fun.
Looking back, like I liked everything. I loved everything except maybe I was kind of done with it by like the end of junior and senior year. Like I wasn't done with it, but like all my upperclassmen friends had graduated, and so I had the same friend groups as from like kindergarten and stuff like that, but I just felt like a little bit more alone in junior and senior year, and I was like freshman sophomore year were just like so fantastic for me, and like I had friends with I was friends with everyone in the school, and then I was like, yeah, I kind of settled down. I just played frisbee at recess, and that was pretty much it, you know. And then I stuck a little bit of theater, and then COVID screwed it all up at the end. So I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I wouldn't say I loved it, I guess.
Yeah, I think I enjoyed it too. But there were a lot of kind of rougher times, I think, for high school. I think for me, it was kind of the opposite of you in the sense that I spent a lot of time freshman and sophomore year kind of just like figuring out like who kind of like I was. And that really kind of, I guess, like I'll say like blossomed junior and senior year, where I really was like, I felt established and like, okay, like this is me, this is who I am, right? And I got more confident about that.
Yeah.
Because once that happened, then I started having a lot better of a time. But I think before that, it was a lot of like just kind of, I don't know, a lot of emotions. High school is an emotional time.
Yeah.
I guess.
Like senior year, I didn't go to like any parties or nothing because
Oh, yeah,
I was just
never
like,
went to a high school
I
party.
thought the dances were so stupid. Like
dances suck.
I would only go because everyone was going.
Oh.
I mean, like even if you had a date or whatever, I think it was so stupid. Like you literally stand there and then just it was like, I think it's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
Like,
you're
those,
right.
Those dances that were thrown were lame.
My dances were bad except for my junior prom, which is great. Shout out Abby.
Yeah, I don't know. I never really went to those, but also, yeah, I never went to a high school party. I mean, don't know if I was because I wasn't invited or what, but I mean, that probably was. Yeah, I don't even know if I would have gone if I was invited anyways, but yeah, I never really went to those.
I will say this. I was obviously invited a couple times, but majority of the time it was like through a friend. Like through a friend, like our friend group was going, so then I went. Type of thing.
I see.
Like like basically the one person in the friend group would get invited, and they would just bring the entire friend group.
Yeah,
together.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like senior year. Part of the reason like my high school like dipped senior year is just because I started like caring a lot more about school, and well, I care about school throughout high school, but like getting into college and stuff like that, and I was like a lot more studious. I barely hung out with like anybody senior year. I feel like it was a nothing year, and the 3 months left of it were COVID, so I had nothing senior year. So other than that, like high school was great for me.
I definitely got a lot more studious too.
Yeah.
Near the end.
Totally. I think it's like junior, like end of junior year, start of senior year was definitely a big, like let's do this type of thing. Because I think up till junior and senior year, I at least I felt like I was doing a lot of just like history things I didn't care about, like basic math. I was like, I don't care about this. English I didn't care about. Like it was a lot of things I just did not care about, and I was like, why am I doing this type of thing? But then once I got into like senior year, it was like AP Econ. Like that was very interesting to me. Like the math, the calculus class I was taking, that teacher was amazing. Probably the top like math teacher in our department, or even I think in our school district. I am not kidding, dude. The way she taught, everyone in the class, like even the kids that you're like, why are they coming to school, understood it. She was so clever with the way she would teach things, and just the concept checks were no longer quizzes, but was more of like, hey, like you don't get this, let's like retry it, let's figure out where you're making those mistakes, and let's fix it like in class.
That's a good teacher.
She was really good with that. She was like, I don't care what you get on like a test, I want you to do well, and I want you to come out of this class understanding it. That's what she focused on, and that was so like she was a friend more than a teacher. And I think that just like motivated everyone to like really want to do well in the class, because it was no longer like like trying to prove something to the teacher. It was more of like, hey, like you're actually helping me, and I want to show that what you're doing is actually making a difference in a way.
Yeah.
Same thing with AP Econ, AP Gov. Like those two teachers were like homies, more than anything. Like literally, like we had inside jokes with them. Like they would
Yeah.
always like crack jokes in class, tell us
Yeah.
stories. It was a ton of fun. Like yeah, those 2 years definitely a ton of fun for sure. Even my AP English class, that last one, I got lucky with the teacher. Like one of our teachers went on leave, so then one of the like just basic English teachers stepped up to do that class, and she was super nice. Like she actually dropped out of college for the longest time ever, and then came back in, like figure out her life after her divorce and stuff.
Wow.
So she was telling us all about that. That was like pretty eye opening. And even my Spanish class, we had Senora Pico. Oh my God, I still FaceTime her till this day. She was
Really?
like one of the best teachers. I think a lot of the high school
FaceTime your
experience,
Spanish teacher?
like it was just like having really great teachers for those 2 years, and that made the biggest difference ever.
That's great. I had some really great teachers as well.
Yeah, me too. I think my most memorable is just AP biology. My
I hated it. It is one of my most memorable just because of how bad that class was for me. That teacher, I'm sorry. I don't ever say that to any teacher, but that teacher should not be a teacher. And I think till this day, like you ask people that did well in that class, they would say the same thing.
Dang.
okay.
What happened with AP Bio?
I personally have something against that teacher.
Yeah, we've been known. Yeah, for me though, I think that like my teacher was the one who would like tell us a bunch of interesting facts about like biology and stuff that like pertain to what we were learning, and a lot of times there was it was like a reminder app. There's like an app where like the professor can like text everyone. It's called Remind, I think.
We had it too.
Yeah, and he would like randomly, he would just like message us like random facts that he would see like on the internet, or like he'd be watching a show and be like, "Oh, this is kind of like this concept." And at the time, everyone memed it because we were like, "Oh, like no one wants to hear like AP biology like in the middle of like winter break, like before Christmas or something." But he'd like send us a text of like a spider and be like, "Oh, like this is like this," blah, 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 just like out of the fun of stuff.
That's cool.
And that's something that I look back at and I really think about. I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy science so much, is because I find like these little random facts so interesting. And I like to do similar stuff to that, where like it'll be like the most random time, or like this random time of like the day or like the week or in the year, where I'll just be like, "Oh yeah, this, did you know about like this thing or this thing?" Yeah, like just I really like those, and it really interests me. And that's something that I like to do. Like during sessions, I like to tell students just like, "Oh, you guys, you might not care at all about this, but I think it's really interesting." And so I'll tell them about like maybe like blood types, or just something that we learned in biochem or something like that. I'm like, you don't have to know this now, but I think it's really cool, and maybe you will too.
A lot of teachers do that at Chapman. So it's a good it shows that you're like really passionate about it, so that's definitely a good thing for a teacher.
Cool. Well, I think we've definitely all had a lot of different experiences, and I think that's really what's made us who we are today. I think at least I could say that for myself. That's one of the reasons I would never change anything about my past. I think every single part of my education has had some type of meaning in who I am today. But I think that leads us to our last segment of the episode. It is, what is the most pre-med thing to say?
I have one more question that I want to ask just before that. Is, would you do any of these again? Like, would you do any like middle school, elementary school, or high school? Would you do it
now that we've
ever
talked
again?
about it all? We started out with the hypothetical. Would you relive 15 years of your life? Right.
No,
but
I wouldn't redo anything.
You still wouldn't?
No.
Yeah, I still say I would. I would redo everything.
Well,
I'm happy with the way it was.
You'd relive everything?
Yeah. Well, okay. So what's the question exactly? Would you
would you do any of those, like any experiences in middle school or high school?
Like to change it, to change?
No, just to relive it. Just
relive
to
all of it, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would.
No.
I would.
I think I've gotten everything out of it. I don't need to go in the past. It's time to make a difference in the future.
That's true.
I think
I love my childhood. So
yeah, I think for me, things I would relive are just like the most fun points in high school in terms of marching band. is just being able to do that, because high school marching band itself is very different from college marching bands, at least as far as I'm concerned. And just the things that we did in high school and just the experiences that I had through that were definitely some of just like the best experiences that I've ever had in my life.
That's great.
And so if I could like relive or do any of them again, I'd definitely do that, because it was fun.
There is like, I love doing theater so much. Like there's nothing better feeling than spending 3 months working like so hard to put together a show, like rehearsing every day for 4 hours a day, and then getting the exact reaction from the audience that you wanted the whole time. Like you tell a joke and the audience cracks up and you're like, I planned that joke for so long and we worked so hard to make that joke possible. It's like such a great feeling. All of those moments backstage in theater are like golden to me.
There's
So I would
actually
do it.
one thing I would relive. It's outdoor ed.
No, I would not relive that.
That was so much fun.
There was one time. There was one time, like on the first day we got there, our like instructor person made us go on like a walk, and I remember it was really cold, obviously because you're high altitude, and so we were walking and we got kind of far, and it was like kind of getting a little bit dark, so it was getting a little colder. Like there was no sun outside, and obviously it was still cold because we were like in the mountains or whatever. And so he's like, okay, everyone. He has like a one of those flasks of like water, and he's like, okay, everyone, we're gonna birdie out of this, right? To give everyone water, right? So what happens is like it's my turn, and he's going to pour the water into my mouth, and then
Oh,
he
okay.
spills,
I see what you're
and he
saying.
spilled it like all over me, and so my shirt was just like, it was soaked with water, and it was cold, and it was getting dark, and it was kind of miserable because now I just had to walk back in like this wet shirt and like everything, and it was just,
What do you call
it was
the?
really cold.
What do you call it? Like a
Birdie.
birdie?
Yeah.
Is that what you call it?
Oh,
I
it's like when you pour the water
Yeah,
into
it's called
someone's
a birdie.
mouth. Yeah.
I say Viking chug. That's what my
What?
friends always said.
Okay.
Viking chug. You turn your head up and pour the water. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's,
Yeah, but
I've
that,
never-
that happened to
Viking
me,
chug.
and that was such a tough memory
Yeah.
because I was like,
Outdoor ed for me was so much fun.
that's
But
that's good.
I could talk.
I
about
never
that.
took anything like that. So okay.
Anyways, so what's the most theory pre-med thing to say?
We're the cool kids now.
Yeah, we're the cool kids now. We're the top of our schools.
I was so stupid in high school. I think that's a college thing, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess
Leave it at
so.
that.
Like, I mean, obviously we all were. So
All right, take us out, Todd.
All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for listening. You know where we are. We are on YouTube, TikTok,
Todd doesn't know where we are.
Instagram. I know. I guess I don't. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Episodes every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Please go and check us out. And Nathan's doing his little salute. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for listening. Every single week, we really look forward to making these just for you. Make sure that you share with everyone that you know.
Oh, he
Tell
wants to do
everyone
it
that
so
you know.
bad. He's like,
I'm ready for it.
his hand keeps going like this.
No, I'm ready for the sign off.
Tell everyone that you know. Make your mom and your dad listen to this, please, because we love the support that you guys give us. But thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you later.
See ya.